Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Happy Friday to everybody. Happy Father's Day weekend to everybody. And since I have not did a 2024 college football preview of any team this week, and it's Friday, today is that day. Today we're going to talk about a team that used to be a powerhouse in the world of college football, and they seem to be one of those teams that, since they were a powerhouse back in the day, every single year you always hear, this team is back. Are they back? When are they going to get back? Can they get back? What's keeping them from getting back? And as I looked over their schedule and I was preparing this video yesterday, I've got to be honest with you. This year could be the year that they get back. And I'm not saying that it's going to be something that's going to catapult them into, from this point forward, being a top 10 team every year. Could that happen? Yes, absolutely. But it could be just for 1 year. If you recall, a few years back, when Mark Richt was their head coach, they had a really good season. And then after that, that was it. And yes, I'm talking about the Miami Hurricanes. Now, I'm not a fan of their head coach. Never have been, never will be. He's an absolute buffoon as far as on the field coaching. You'll never see a worse coach on the field coaching with everything. He sucks at coaching offense. He sucks at coaching defense. He sucks at clock management. He sucks at decision making. He just sucks at everything on game day. But his recruiting is so good that I think his recruiting is going to help him overcome his buffoonness on game day. But let's run down Miami's schedule, and I'll tell you why I think they're in for a really good year this year. And then if I'm right, we'll find out, is this a 1 year type thing like when they had Mark Richt a few years back, or is this going to catapult Miami into having the next 5 or 6, 7 years of being a top 10 team? They open up the season on August 31st against one of their rivals, the Florida Gators, and that game has already been announced as a 3:30 kickoff. Now, I'm glad Miami ain't like Georgia. I was thinking about Georgia the other day, and do you know Georgia says that Florida is their rival. They say that Tennessee is their rival. They say that Auburn is their rival. They say that South Carolina is their rival. They say that Clemson is their rival. They say that Georgia Tech is their rival. I don't think Georgia understands that a true rivalry is one, maybe two teams. Every team on your schedule can't be your rival. But Miami opens up with one of their rivals in the Florida Gators. Game number 2 also already has an announced kickoff time. September the 7th at 6 o'clock, they play Florida A&M. Game number 3 also has an announced kickoff time. September 14th at 3:30, they play the Cardinals of Ball State. And then their fourth and final non-conference game, September 21st against South Florida. So they kick off the season with their 4 non-conference games. And then they kick off ACC play on September 27th, a Friday night, against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Then they open up the month of October on the 5th with one of the newcomers, the newbies of the ACC, the California Golden Bears. And then week number 7, they get their first bye week of the season. They come back on October the 19th against the Louisville Cardinals. Then they wrap up the month of October on the 26th against their other rival, the Florida State Seminoles. Then they open up the month of November on the 2nd against the Duke Blue Devils. November the 9th, they play Georgia Tech. And then after that game, week number 12, they have their second bye week of the season. Then they wrap up the season, final 2 games, November 23rd against Wake Forest. And November 30th, they play the Syracuse Orange. Now, a couple of reasons why I think Miami is in for a really, really, really good season. For one, I think their defense is going to be really good. But the second reason, and the main reason, is that if you paid close attention to their schedule, you notice that they don't play Clemson, they don't play NC State, and they don't play North Carolina. So they don't play the upper echelon of the conference outside of Florida State. So if they avoid Clemson and NC State and North Carolina, and they still only go 7-5, then they have no excuses. There's just no hope for Miami. But I believe they start off 6-0, winning all 4 non-conference games. And then I think they'll beat Virginia Tech, and I think they'll beat California. And then after their first bye week, I think Louisville beats them, and I think Florida State beats them. And then after that, I think they went out against Duke, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and Syracuse. Now, if I'm right, that means they'll finish 6-2 in the ACC and 10-2 overall, winning all 4 non-conference games. And the only non-conference game that I think might be close is the opener against Florida. I don't expect Florida A&M or Ball State or South Florida to put up much of a fight. But if Miami finishes 6-2 in the conference, 10-2 overall, that's a really, really, really good season, and it could catapult them into having a pretty good run over the next 5, 6, 7 years, and it could just be a one-year thing because they're avoiding Clemson and NC State and North Carolina. But honestly, I could see them losing to maybe either Duke or Georgia Tech and finishing 9-3. But looking over their schedule, especially with their 4 non-conference games, along with the fact that they don't play Clemson, NC State, or North Carolina, they better not finish any worse than 8-4. If they finish worse than 8-4, then there's just no hope. Miami is just stuck in mediocrity. They're stuck in mediocre purgatory. They have become the Dallas Cowboys of college football, where every year they're going to be just good enough to get recognition and just good enough to put a scare in you, but not good enough to win a doggone thing. Because there's no excuse to have 4 easy non-conference games, and then in conference you avoid Clemson and NC State and North Carolina, and you still go 7-5, you suck. So I think their floor is 8-4, but I think the ceiling is 11-1, but I'll put them at 10-2, losing to Louisville and Florida State. Any thoughts on this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Anyone who is brave enough to get a tattoo of the host of Wheel of Fortune deserves a pat on the back. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.